But millions of people will die.
Billions! Once again, the press underestimates me. This is front page news. Come on, let me hear you say it just once. Come on.
You're insane.
No! That. No, the other thing. Come on, I know it's just dangling out the tip of your tongue. Let me hear it just once, please.
Superman will never...
Wrong!
Hello and welcome to Comic Book Movie Oblivion, the podcast about feature films based on comic books and comic strips that people have stopped talking about. We are your hosts, Jordan and Kumar. That's me.
And me.
And this week we are talking about Superman Returns from 2006. Kind of a weird movie in historically, but we'll kind of get through that. And also the comics we're looking at are also weird historically.
Okay. I read the comics, but I don't know anything about where they're positioned.
Right.
So I didn't even know when they'd come out, although I guessed it was the 80s.
Well, it's interesting because I was kind of the same way when I bought some of them off the shelf in 1986, 87. So this is John Byrne's Man of Steel series. It was 6 issues. I walked into, at the time, my hometown did not have a comic book store. So I would buy my comics from gas stations, or some bookshops had like a spinner rack of comics.
Right.
And I had just started getting into comics. And I liked Superman. And I went into this bookstore, looked at the spinner rack, and they had a Superman comic, which was Man of Steel issue 6. And I bought it, and I didn't know what it was. And I was like weirded out a little bit by the fact that it seemed to be an origin story. I didn't know why it was an origin. I didn't know what I was reading. I didn't know that it was a reboot series or anything like that. And then like the next month, and a comic came out called Superman #1 by John Byrne. And I started buying that series. But this was the post-Crisis on Infinite Earths reboot of Superman is what this series was. So basically, the DC universe had been crumbled down into a single universe instead of having all these alternate universes, which is, we're kind of rubber banding that now, like we're getting them all again. Anyway, single universe, so everybody kind of has to have a cleaned up origin story or whatever. And John Byrne came up with this series, which, interestingly, in terms of his podcast, took a lot from the Richard Donner movies. Especially the look of Krypton and stuff, which is very colorful in the pre-crisis days, and primary colors and crazy outfits and stuff. And John Byrne went for that kind of cold
crystals and togas
look for sure. And even the whole culture was kind of sterile. Like they didn't have babies. The babies were all grown in these birthing matrices. And stuff like that, and shipped him to Earth. And then he grew up, and he didn't start developing his powers until later, which was a big change. So there was no Superboy in this version. That was one of the key differences of the John Byrne version.
It seems a little bit muddled, actually, because he doesn't seem to know he's different.
Yeah.
Until his dad shows him the spaceship he arrived in, because he's out playing footy and stuff, or American, whatever it's called, American football.
Yeah.
But then in flashbacks, he's like picking up cars when he's a toddler, like the Donner film.
Yeah, well, they think he's might be like a Russian experiment. Like he doesn't know why he is the way he is until his dad shows him the spaceship and says, "Actually, you're an alien," or maybe you're a Russian baby that in a Russian rocket that crash landed here. Like after the dog experiments, they put a baby in a rocket and it crashed in Kansas.
That's right. That's what they thought when it first landed, didn't it? Yeah. They just assumed it was the Russians or something. Or even, anyway, so it's a bit strange.
It caused all sorts of problems for other series because Crisis on Infinite Earths was a soft reboot. So Legion of Superheroes still existed, and Legion of Superheroes' whole reason for existing was that they're in the year 3000 or whatever, but they were inspired by Superboy. And Superboy used to travel through time and have all sorts of adventures with them and stuff. And now John Byrne was saying, actually, there was no Superboy. So there was all sorts of this huge continuity mess that got tangled
I
up
heard.
in the
I
Legion
understand
for
it
years
ended
and
up creating more problems than it solved. The Crisis on Infinite Earths. Still,
Yes.
we'll have to cover it in detail on one episode, I think, because it's pretty fascinating.
I think so. We could, they did it on the Arrowverse TV series. They did 5 episodes, I think,
On Crisis.
of
Wow.
Crisis.
With the
Yeah,
Anti-Monitor and everything.
yeah, and
Wow.
Brandon Routh as Superman.
Yeah, I heard about that. Actually, that's relevant because we're talking about Brandon Routh today.
Yeah, yeah.
In his abortive career as not so abortive because he appears on Arrowverse.
Yeah. So we had this series in around 86. Then in 2003, they rebooted the origin again with a series called Birthright, written by Mark Waid, who is a real superhero junkie, maybe the number one superhero junkie writing in the comics industry. And then probably only about 10 or 11 years after that, we had another reboot called Secret Origin.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who wrote it. I think it was Jeff Johns and drawn by Gary Frank. And Gary Frank drew Superman to look like Christopher Reeve. And they brought Superboy back into that series as well.
Interesting.
And so the origin releases seem to be coming closer and closer. So we're gonna reach a point where they're coming out every day.
Every issue is an origin story. Mathematically speaking, it seems likely. It's interesting that we read Origin comics this week because, like the most recent Superman movie, this Superman Returns does not have an origin sequence in it.
Yeah, that's right.
We get some text at the beginning where it just sort of basically very briefly sums up the history, and then it just kind of kicks right off. It doesn't even have any hints. I think with this film, you kind of have to. We've already started talking about the film. With this film, I think you kind of have to know a bit about what's going on behind the scenes.
Yes. But also, if you know, you will be confused. So if you've watched Superman 1 and 2, and you see the magic kiss at the end of Superman 2, where Clark wipes her memories.
Yeah.
Even in the Donner cut, I guess he goes back in time and saves her. I don't know. Anyway, but then you're watching this movie, and there's a question about the kid's father, who is the father. This question is kind of introduced an hour into it, and how would she, if it was Superman's baby, which it turns out to be, what's going through her mind? She's like, I never slept with Superman.
Yeah, good point.
Where did this baby come from?
I just assume he didn't wipe her, but she doesn't know who Clark Kent is.
No, she doesn't know that he's Clark.
It's just messed. Okay, big problems. All right, before we really dive into the film, is there anything else to be said about these comics?
Well, I just think it was interesting that it kind of took from the movies, and also it was kind of the series was a tribute, kind of a sequel, kind of an homage, kind of a remake, which is all, what this movie is as well.
100%. Yeah,
it's all those things jumbled up. There's bits in there where Superman will he takes this poison gas up into space and then freezes it into in crystals, and you get a long description. That's very 60s and 70s Superman. That's not 80s storytelling at all. They would not obsess about how Superman's going to get rid of those poison gas.
It's funny.
And there's this villain called Magpie, and her actual name is Margaret Pye, and she's completely bird themed. And I'm like, and it's in a Batman, so it's like a World's Finest issue from 1965. So all that kind of stuff is in there. Despite
she's also very 80s in that she murders her henchmen, and she's wearing a very, very stripperific, ridiculous costume with a mohawk wig.
Yes.
And huge flared shoulders.
Yes.
It's a really sort of uneasy mixture of 60s and 70s ridiculousness and Batman fighting animal-themed villains. And
Batman not being friendly with Superman. This is kind of, I don't know what the timeline is with Dark Knight Returns, where they were absolute enemies, but maybe John Byrne was playing into that a little bit, where they're kind of standoffish with each other.
Interesting that's coming. Yeah.
Which was not the case pre-Crisis, where they were best buddies and would hang out all the time.
Yes, good point.
The other difference
we're getting comics that are looking a bit like the sort of our modern versions, I suppose, of the superheroes that start popping up in in film that's contemporaneous with us.
Yes.
And yet this movie, the one we're going to talk about, seems to have nothing to do with it whatsoever.
Yeah, well, it's been through so many iterations, and I mean, we'll talk about it. I guess we can talk about the movie, but as far as I know, Bryan Singer doesn't like comics or read comics.
I read that. I read an interview with him where he basically said that in so many words, that he's not a comics person, which is so nuts because he's the X-Men guy.
That's right. And I was recording another episode about this movie last night for Deconstructing Comics, and according to Emmett, Hugh Jackman arrived at X-Men and was like, "Can I get some comics to read for reference?" And Bryan Singer was like, "No, don't look at any comics. You're not allowed to look at any comics."
Right.
Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but Hugh Jackman obviously went off and he read those comics and he read all the bubs in there because those bubs were not in the movie script. He put those in whenever Wolverine says bub.
Excellent.
So I think this is scuttlebutt, but it sounds like Bryan Singer is hostile towards comics.
Possibly, yeah. I didn't read anything like that. I didn't do any research on X-Men for this movie, but he does like Superman though. He loves Superman,
right?
But the Superman he loves is
the Richard Donner Superman.
That one first and foremost, because you can't understand what's going on in this movie unless you've seen the Richard Donner films. Unless you've seen at least Superman, and you have seen Superman 2 as well.
Yes, but at the same time, everybody was doing mad press at the time this movie came out, saying this is a sequel to Superman 2, despite being called Superman Returns. So they were. This is the first time I remember really. Like nowadays, with all the reboots of like Halloween or Scream or whatever, the press, they come out, the director, the actors are out there and they're saying, what is a sequel to? This is a sequel to the first Halloween or whatever.
This is a reboot from this point.
Yes.
Yeah, that irritates me. I want to just be able to watch a film. I shouldn't have to be doing, extra reading.
I agree. I think this is the first movie that did this that I can recall. But also at this point, 20 years later, you're not looking at those interviews. So somebody just walking into this movie, picking it up off a shelf or watching it on Netflix or whatever is going to maybe
You're not going to understand what's going on. And in fact, Kumar, when I went and saw this movie at the Pictures in 2006.
So did I.
Yep. And that, I don't know why. I just did that back then. I went to the Pictures.
Okay.
And I couldn't remember a thing about it. The only thing I can remember about it is that first scene where it's implied that Lex Luthor has been sleeping with this old lady for her money.
Yes. I remember quite a bit of this movie, but I haven't seen it until this week. I hadn't seen it in 20 years.
I think perhaps one of the reasons why I didn't remember it very well is because I don't think I knew what was going on in it because I had not read any of these interviews. I had no idea that it was a soft sequel.
Yeah, my brother sent me an email. My older brother was like, "What's going on in this movie? Is this a sequel to Superman 2, or what happened at the end of Superman 2?" I had these kind of questions coming from him. Yeah,
I reckon I was lost in this movie because I didn't understand where he'd been or why he'd come back or how this was supposed to fit in.
Yeah.
What kind of new Superman movie is this? What kind of place is this to start a Superman movie? I must have been at sea because I couldn't remember. I could remember two things about this movie. One, Lex Luthor and the old lady, and two, Lex Luthor saying kryptonite. Those are the two things. If you asked me day before yesterday, before I watched the movie, what I remembered about this film, that would have been it.
Yeah. So let me think. I did not see the movie, but anytime it was on TV over that 20-year period, I would kind of stop and watch it for a couple of minutes. I never let Ashwin watch it when he was little because I thought the kryptonite stabbing at the end was really too scary for him.
Okay.
So I'd watch bits and pieces, but the thing is, obviously, I didn't rewatch it 1,000 times like I watched the first one because I didn't walk out of it that impressed. I was like, okay, I saw that, fine. But then when Man of Steel came out, 2013, I actually looked back, and in my mind, this was a good movie. I was like, oh, that movie was pretty good. compared to what we got with Man of Steel. So I had a kind of shift in, at least mentally, without watching it again. And then once all the stuff about Bryan Singer and Kevin Spacey came out, it turned to Poison, kind of again. It kind of Poison. Frank Langella, apparently there's stuff about him, which I didn't realize until last night talking to Emmett. So it's kind of a bummer in that way. I think Brandon Routh is good. I don't think anything that's wrong with this movie is his fault. Or, in fact, Kevin Spacey has some great scenes in this as Lex, and I laughed at his Lex bits.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's a great actor, however terrible a person he is. He sure can.
Yeah,
sure can act.
Yeah, he's really good in this.
Really good.
Yeah. Okay. Other interesting thing about Bryan Singer coming on. So we had a Superman Lives movie that was in production with Nick Cage in the 90s and Tim Burton.
Tim Burton was going to direct it, yes.
Yep. We might talk about that on the other podcast at some stage because there's a whole documentary about it. Very interesting to me that Bryan Singer came over from the X-Men movies, because this is also the start of a trend. Because later we get Joss Whedon coming over from Avengers to JLA, and then James Gunn coming over from Suicide Squad to Superman. So it's the DC poaching, like DC making some crap movies and then poaching some Marvel directors to come over and try to write their franchise. It seems to be a trend.
There's a pattern there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Well, in this case, I mean, the X-Men movies were technically Fox movies, weren't they?
Yeah.
But and you mean you Guardians of the Galaxy, not Suicide Squad?
Oh yeah, sorry, that's right.
James Gunn.
Yeah.
But Bryan Singer pitched it apparently, because there were these movies knocking around. There was the Tim Burton one in the 90s, and then in the early 21st century there was another one Warner Brothers was trying to get in production with a different director, and they were at the point of interviewing apparently, or auditioning, casting people for it. Apparently Henry Cavill was in contention for this other movie.
Right.
Actually, I read an interview with Henry Cavill. Everywhere it's posted a lot online that Henry Cavill was one of the people that auditioned for Superman Returns. And Henry Cavill's in an interview where he says, no, he didn't. And I seem to think that what the difference is here is that he auditioned for this earlier movie.
Okay.
Not actually Superman Returns. But Singer's, as I said, is a Superman fan. He obviously really likes the Donner films and also the George Reeves serials. He grew up watching them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I've got a quote from him from Entertainment Weekly online from 2004. He said, "I'm adopted, I'm an only child, and I have blue eyes," he said. "When I first saw Superman and his blue eyes, I felt a very strong identification." So when he was filming the second X-Men movie, X2, in 2003, one of the producers on that film was Lauren Donner.
Yeah.
And he actually met with her and Richard Donner and basically pitched his version. He said, "I want to do a Superman movie."
Yeah.
And he said, "I want to do like an homage or a soft sequel to your films." Donner said, "Yeah, you have my blessing. Go for it." And then he then took that to Warner Brothers, and he was signed on in 2004.
Okay. Got it. And pre-X-Men, he had done Usual Suspects also with Kevin Spacey. And I think I remember him being an odd choice, but maybe they were looking for somebody that could direct like a team movie.
Well, Singer wrote this movie, and he wrote the Lex Luthor part for Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, right.
No one else was ever in contention for it, apparently.
Right.
Same with Parker Posey and the Kitty Kowalski character.
Right. Okay. Interesting. We'll get around to all that. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about the cast. We mentioned Frank Langella is Perry White in this.
I read that Hugh Laurie was actually supposed to play Perry White.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually, I read that. Actually, I read it in the interview that I mentioned, the Entertainment Weekly one. Bryan Singer himself said that Hugh Laurie was supposed to play Perry White because Singer was producing House at that time.
Okay.
The first season had just come out. And then when it was renewed and it was a big success, Hugh Laurie wasn't going to appear in this movie. He was going to act in-house instead. So that's why he cast Frank Langella instead.
Okay.
I think Frank Langella does a fine job. But gee, it would have been strange Perry White as with Hugh Laurie playing him.
Yes, I don't like Perry White in this movie. We'll talk about that when we go through.
Oh, yeah, I look forward to hearing about that. Brandon Routh, incidentally, is now comic book movie Oblivion All-Star.
Yes. Yes, he certainly is.
Let's hit that on the head now. Yep, Dylan Dog, Scott Pilgrim, and now this.
Yes.
And returning with him from Dylan Dog is Sam Huntington.
Yes, that's right.
Playing Jimmy Olsen, and he was his zombie sidekick in Dylan Dog.
Yeah, and Jimmy's good in this. He's good as Jimmy in this. Jimmy's got some funny lines in this. All that stuff was fine. That's none of that stuff is a problem with this movie. Let's talk a little bit about Kate Bosworth, who played Lois. I've never seen her anything before or since. She's a very non-sassy Lois Lane, very not a Lois Lane type.
I think she's definitely miscast. She looks about 16 years old.
She's 23, which means she had her baby, her Superman's baby, when she was 18, 17.
Well, the character's not 23. The actor is. The character's not 23, right? The character's supposed to be older, certainly. Sure.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, but why not? Why not cast older? Margot Kidder was 30, and Christopher Reeve was like 27, 28.
Yeah, and both Brandon Routh and
Christopher Reeve.
No, both Brandon Routh and Kate Bosworth look too young for the roles, I think.
Yes, although Brandon is 27. He's the same age that Christopher Reeve was.
But he just looks younger, I think.
He looks younger, but he looks like Christopher Reeve.
He does. Apparently, Ralph had been told all his life he looked like Christopher Reeve.
And it seems like he trained his voice to sound like Christopher Reeve in this movie because he sounds just like him. I will say I saw this movie at the cinema 2006 with my wife, and we came out of the theater and she said he was too good looking. She was distracted. She could not think about the story or what was going on because of his beautiful face. And she also suggested naming our son Kal-El as soon as we walked out of the cinema.
Were you married at that point?
We were married. And she was coming up with
that's
names.
how you know she's the one.
Yeah, but there were certain names, like we watched Terminator. She said, let's name him Reese, or let's name him Kal-El. And I was like, if we name our kid these names, people will think I I forced you into using.
Yeah, this is a baffling reversal of how I imagined these conversations to go.
Yeah, but it was his face. It was Brandon Routh's face that made her like. Okay, Parker Posey.
This is her second appearance. She was in Josie and the Pussycats.
She will hit 3. I love her. I think she's great in this. Actually, I think she should have been Lois Lane. She was 40 at the time, but come on,
She looks amazing. Yeah, she should have been. Yeah, she should have been Lois Lane. I agree. That's a really good point. Since we're talking about the cast, James Marsden is in this. He plays Cyclops in the X-Men movies.
Yeah. Yeah, and he has a weirdly shaped career. Like, was doing these movies, and now he's in like Sonic and Paw Patrol, and he's doing
transition to acting in kind of kid.
Maybe he's got kids that he to make movies for. I don't know what's going on with him.
Kal Penn, who was Kumar in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yes, and then works for Lex Luthor, and then ends up being a speechwriter for Obama. That's the transition of his career.
Yeah. Although he did appear speaking of Scott Pilgrim, he appeared in the Scott Pilgrim TV series that came out as lawyer.
Right. I don't think he has any lines in this, but he has good eye work. He's like giving looks to Lex Luthor or smirking at him when he thinks boss has a good plan. Or
you're right. I don't think he has a single line, but he does. He's fine. He's got a lot of camera.
But his name is above the credits. Like in the opening credits, you don't have to wait for the end scroll. His name is up there in big 3D Superman letters with everybody else. The
only other cast member I'd like to mention is Eva Marie Saint, who plays Martha Kent. Crazy that she's in this. Her first film was On the Waterfront.
Yes, with Marlon Brando. So this is
Brando.
her second movie with Marlon
Brando. She's still alive, 101 years old.
Yeah, and she was also in North by Northwest.
Yeah, North by Northwest. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's start talking about the film. The very first scene, as mentioned, we've got Lex Luthor and an old lady. We don't know.
Do we get the title card about Superman being missing for 5 years first?
Yes, we do. Yeah,
because that is similar, very similar to what we got this year in the James Gunn Superman.
Okay,
where you start with a 3-sentence title card.
Isn't that interesting? You know, like we've all been praising the James Gunn Superman to the heavens for its doing away with an origin story, but it seems like maybe Bryan Singer did it first.
Yeah, and even in fact, I thought there was something else that also skipped the origin.
Oh yeah, well, films have done it, but it's just funny in this instance that this film, forgotten film, arguably, this is a film that people are not talking about.
Yeah,
might have anticipated, but it's this odd soft sequel where you really needed to be paying attention to.
Yeah,
you know, like interviews with the cast or the director in order to understand what the movie's about. That's not art, man.
Yeah, it's weird. So yeah, we learned that Krypton, some astronomers spotted the remains of Krypton. So Superman flew off in a rocket ship for 5 years and was exploring it. And I believe that's a cutscene that I think I saw it on YouTube once.
Yeah, I wasn't able to see it, but it does exist. The link I followed was dead. Incidentally, in the original script, Kal Penn's character was supposed to be a disgraced science reporter that had planted that story about astronomers discovering the remains of Krypton so as to lure Superman away from Earth.
Oh, but it was real. He went away for 5 years and came back. Are we supposed to think
But the idea is that
nothing?
like there was press that Krypton had been rediscovered or the remains of it had been discovered. In the original script, Kal Penn had planted that story in the Daily Planet.
But what I'm saying is if that's a fake story, what did Superman do for 5 years?
Well, he just went and looked at the remains of Krypton.
But the astronomers never found the remains of Krypton.
No, Superman just found them independently. I don't know. It doesn't, because that didn't make it into the finished film. It doesn't matter. But in the original script, that was his origin. That was why he was working with Lex Luthor, because Lex had bribed him to plant a story about life being discovered near the remains of Krypton or something. Perhaps it was because they'd seen life. And then he'd been fired from that job, and now he's slumming it with those piano playing hoodlums.
Okay. We get some Brando voiceover, which is fine.
There's a
lot of Brando voiceover. A lot of leaning into the Mankiewicz Jesus metaphor in this movie. Too much so.
Yeah, agreed. In an interview another interview I read with Bryan Singer, a different one, he just outright said that Superman is a quote returning Messiah, end quote.
Right. We get the John Williams theme music, which is a big cheat in my world because that music has an emotional effect on me, and if you put it in your movie, it's cheating.
And the credits are the same. The credits are
the same. Yeah.
The credits are exactly the same. They've got the zooming out the screen.
Yeah. Based on characters appearing in DC Comics, so I guess this was before the Siegel and Schuster deal, where now
it says both. It says Superman created by Siegel and Schuster, and then goes based on comics. It wants it both ways.
Okay. All right. So it's important that we have the title card, I guess, because otherwise you're watching this movie wondering where Superman is. Because as you said, we get the first scene is Lex Luthor and Noel Neill as this old lady. This is her third appearance. No, second. She'll hit 3. Because she was Lois Lane's mom, and now she's Gertrude. And eventually we'll see her as Lois Lane in the Superman versus the Mole Man or whatever that George Reeves movie is.
Whoa, cool. Oh, wow. That's the whole tab that we don't have time for now. But yeah, it's heavily implied, as I keep saying, that Lex Luthor has been sleeping.
He married her. He's got a wedding ring, which he takes off as soon as she dies. And she says, "You showed me pleasures I've never known before." I love this because you get a sense of where Lex gets his money from.
Exactly. It's so great. I wish
it's really good. And when he walks out and he throws his wig at that kid and says, you can keep that. I'm taking the rest. All this stuff was great. It was really funny.
So good. That's why it's the only thing I remembered about it. I wish this movie had just been about Lex Luthor and his, I don't know, like skullduggery and Kevin Spacey getting more screen time.
And then Parker Posey is undercover as a maid in his house, and he walks past her. He says, "We're done here," and she just throws her stuff off and walks out with him. Oh, really great.
Dumps her feather duster. She's dressed up as a French maid. Dumps her feather duster on the ground, and they stalk out. Really cool.
Yeah, and then the Superman spaceship crashes in Smallville.
Go back to Kansas, and Ma Kent. Ma Kent has since died. She's
she died in the first movie.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. How could I forget? All my power and I couldn't save him.
Yes. Eva Marie Saint is Ma Kent here, Martha Kent.
Yep. She, there's things shake a lot in this movie.
Yes.
She's sitting in her farmhouse and things are shaking. The radio turns off, everything's shaking, and then a sort of meteorite flies overhead, or some sort of object on fire, crashes in the farm. She goes out and there's an enormous green chunk of kryptonite there. And then she's tapped on the shoulder. It's Superman. It's Brandon Routh, Superman. In his super suit, he collapses. Yeah. Okay, this lump of kryptonite is never mentioned again.
Oh, was it kryptonite? I thought it was just the crash landing that hurt him.
No, it's got to be kryptonite, right? He can't be hurt from a crash landing. It's kryptonite. It's green.
Okay.
I think he says at one point, "I buried it," although he could have been talking about his spaceship.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was talking about the spaceship.
How could you have? Okay, so mate, look, I was nearly 100% sure it was kryptonite. Okay, I'm willing to entertain the possibility that it's not.
Well, this movie doesn't know how kryptonite works.
No.
I'm pretty sure we can jump ahead. I mean, at the end of the movie, there's this entire landmass which is made of kryptonite, which weakens Superman, and then it's revealed that Lex has a shard of kryptonite in his pocket, which he takes out and stabs Superman with. Now, in the first movie, the kryptonite has to be shielded by lead. And as soon as that box is opened, Superman is weakened, the lead box. In this movie, the radiation through the pocket should have been enough to weaken Superman. The island did not need to be made of kryptonite. Because at the end of the movie, he lifts this kryptonite island off the Earth and throws it.
How could he do that? And it was
how can he do that?
Yeah, that was really annoying. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if this thing here is kryptonite or not.
I feel like in the scene, it doesn't look like a spaceship. It looks like a big lump of kryptonite.
Okay.
It looks like the later kryptonite we see on the Kryptonite Island.
Right.
And in the scene that was cut where he goes to Krypton, he's exposed to big chunks of kryptonite that are just sort of floating in orbit.
Okay.
And he gets sweat drops coming down his temple in this cut scene.
Yeah.
And there's a callback to that later when he lands on the island and we see sweat drops again. But there's no callback because we lost the scene that it was referring to. So it just looks like he starts sweating.
Right. Okay. Well, if this giant thing is kryptonite, how did he bury it?
Yeah, exactly. How did he bury it?
He was unconscious. If it is kryptonite to the point that it renders him unconscious, how did he bury it?
Yep. So I guess it's not kryptonite then, but I felt like it was because he was collapsing. He usually only collapses when he's near kryptonite.
Right.
Anyway, doesn't matter. It just feels like it like you can't have whatever that big lump was. It just vanishes from the movie and we never hear about it again. We'll see it again.
Yeah, I thought it was a spaceship that he took because it looked like his baby ship that he came to Earth in.
Did look a bit like the baby ship in the sense that it was crystalline.
By the way, I don't know if we mentioned during the first Superman movie, but he's got the same spit curl as Marlon Brando. I love that.
Yeah.
I never like.
It's good that he's got the spit curl.
No, he's got the same. That's where he got it from. It's not just a stupid hairstyle. It's a tribute to his father. Anyway, okay. Meanwhile, Lex has inherited this woman's all her property, including a cruise ship or a yacht.
It's a super yacht.
A super yacht which can reach the Arctic. They go to the Arctic in it. He has a line here which I thought was good, which is whoever controls technology controls the world, which is really, I don't know if prescient's the right word for 2006, but
it's good. And he compares himself to Prometheus.
Yes.
And
he compares Superman. He says gods are selfish.
Yeah. Parker Posey asks him, "So do you think you're a god then?"
Yeah.
And he says, "No, because gods are selfish. They fly around in little red capes and don't share their secrets with the common man."
It was good. It was enough motivation for Lex Luthor for me. Just one sentence.
100%. It was a great line.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have anything to do with the themes of Superman as Jesus.
Yeah.
It's just a good line.
Yes. So he goes up to the Fortress of Solitude and he steals something from it.
There's a line here where Parker Posey asks him, she says, you act like you've been here before.
Yes.
And he doesn't answer. He just ignores her.
That's
and
right.
I guess this is sort of like, this is a clue that he'd been here with, is this when Zod was around?
Yeah, with Eve Tessmacher. He escaped from prison and came straight to the fortress.
Yeah.
With Eve. Yeah. So this is, or since he doesn't answer, if you haven't seen those movies, you could just write it off as, okay, maybe he has been, like, without being sure of it. But if you have seen 1 and 2, then you know he came up here in a hot air balloon.
It's just so weird that, it's like he wants to have his, I don't know how I feel about this. Because again, like you have to know, you have to have this third-party knowledge from listening to Bryan Singer in interviews to understand what's sort of going on in this scene. That it's a
Okay, Clark is back at Smallville. He's having flashbacks to when he was a kid, first discovering his powers. I don't know why we need this flashback. The movie's already 2.5 hours long.
It's just way too long. It's way too long, and it doesn't have enough of a plot to sustain it for that long. It's crazy how little a plot this thing. It's not just Brandon Routh's beautiful, beautiful face that distracted Georgina. Probably, this film has no plot. Yeah.
Okay. And
they grew this corn incidentally, specially for the film, because this film was shot. This is the second film in a row that was shot entirely in Australia.
Okay.
This one was shot in
Sydney,
New South Wales.
Yeah,
in Sydney, and they grew this corn.
Right.
I guess somewhere in New South Wales.
I noticed they also flew in some school buses, some yellow school buses for some shots, some city street shots.
They were going to build a permanent $20 million Metropolis set.
Okay.
Queensland at the Movie World studio.
Okay.
But that fell through. It was going to be a permanent part of the park, of the theme park up on the Gold Coast. They grew that corn at great expense just for the movie. They didn't find, like a cornfield. I guess there aren't that many in New South Wales. Eva Marie Saint said that corn cost $50 a year to grow.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Clark is seeing the TV news and seeing how the world has gone to hell in the 5 years he was gone. This is also a weird thing in this movie because it's acting like it's 5 years, but really it's been 20 years since the last Superman movie. So we're looking at how the world has changed in 20 years, but it's acting like it's 5 years.
People have cell phones. It's so odd because people have, they're clearly, it's clearly 2006 because Lois Lane has a Motorola flip phone. And, Lex has a laptop. It's not 1978 anymore.
No.
So, again...
But even 78 was not... That Metropolis was kind of a 1930s. Like, it was...
Yeah,
it
right.
also was had kind of timelessness about it.
You're right.
That seemed like it was out of time itself, and Clark's hat that he was wearing in that movie and stuff like that.
Of course, everybody was dressing in the suspenders and the pork pie, the hat, the fedora, or what have you.
Yeah,
you're right. It was in a kind of timeless, not quite like Batman '89, where they were sitting in some kind of Art Deco 30s, right. But and yet this one again, no wonder I didn't know what was going on when I saw this movie.
Yeah. He returns to Metropolis to take up his job at the Daily Planet again. How old is Jimmy? Jimmy hasn't had a promotion in the 5 years that Clark has been away. He's still a cub reporter, photographer.
Guess so.
How old was he when he started it?
Like he was in Supergirl.
Yes, that's right. That's a great point. Okay, Lois is not in the office. She's out covering this shuttle launch. But he looks at her desk and she's got a Pulitzer Prize there. She's got a certificate. Do they give you the certificate before the award ceremony?
Yeah, because she hasn't received it yet.
She hasn't received it yet.
Perhaps it's just notification that she's going to receive it.
Right. She's got a family photo, which Jimmy reveals to Clark is of her daughter, her son, Jason.
Bosworth has I guess he's meant to be 5, though he looks a little older than 5.
Yeah, his 5-year-old son, Jason, and she's in a committed relationship with James Marsden.
A lengthy
Richard
with Cyclops. Okay, he seems like a nice guy.
He is a great guy. He's a nice guy with a good job, interesting hobbies.
Yep,
nothing wrong. Here comes the central problem of this movie for me.
Yes,
is that Superman tries to wreck this relationship to reinsert himself into Lois's life.
He does.
He should not be doing this.
Also, he's raising Superman's son, and he doesn't know it.
Yeah.
I'm not some kind of manosphere guy, but it seems immoral that.
But it would be if Superman knew, but Superman doesn't know.
Well, he does know though. Well, he didn't know that Lois had got pregnant.
No, he didn't know that she had a kid. He doesn't know that kid is his.
He's kind of a deadbeat dad, though. He went off on his jaunt for 5 years and left his.
Yes, but he didn't know. He didn't know she was pregnant even.
Yeah, well, let's see what the courts say, Kumar.
Yeah, I guess. That wasn't my issue. My issue was that she's in a committed relationship with this great guy. And he's trying to break it up, and he spies on them. He eavesdrops on them.
Yeah, he eavesdrops on them.
Incredible.
And also, James Marsden's such a good guy. He the film makes him out. There's this word simp. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with this term?
I hear it all the time, but I don't know what it is.
It's like a kind of beta male that.
Okay.
That is too sympathetic to someone, usually a woman. It's not really a very savory term, but in this case, he just sort of it's like he drives Lois to the hospital so that she can hang out with Superman because he knows she's sweet on her.
Yeah,
and she's sweet on him. It's like, why are you doing this, man?
Yeah.
Why are you being such a? What's the other word they say? Cuckold, like a cuck.
Yeah. Yeah,
I feel really bad for him.
No, because the movie is trying to tell you that the Superman-Lois relationship is so tight that this other relationship is false. But the problem is we've written James Marsden is too good.
He needed to be a jerk. He needed to be a jealous jerk.
Exactly.
Who was like a distant father to the boy, not a great engaged father.
Exactly. The thing, there's a scene I like the kitchen scene, the kitchen conversation, because he reveals feels inadequate about Superman. Now, I hate that Superman is outside eavesdropping, which is crazy to me. But I like this conversation because he's like, you still have feelings for Superman. You guys were a thing, right? I really like this because James Marsden is a chiseled hunk. And for him to feel inadequate in the face of Superman is really how it should be. How can you compete with Superman? I thought that was accurate.
But he needed to be a jerk. He needed to be way less sympathetic.
That's right.
I just felt terrible for him.
Yeah.
Also, what's Superman doing in this movie? He seems to spend, as you pointed out, most of his time kind of wrecking relationships.
Yeah.
Moping about because Lois has moved on while he was off bacheloring it out in space.
Yeah.
Eavesdropping, creeping.
Yeah.
About taking her, insisting that she goes flies around with him in like he did in the first film.
Yeah.
She has to stand on his feet and go for a fly with him, and she's like, my James flies me around, and he's like, not like I do. What a loser.
Yes.
What are you trying to? What is this very heroic?
No, it's anti-heroic. It's something bad. It's really bad behavior. Meanwhile,
so as you said, there's some sort of space launch going on where they're flying the space shuttle up on the back of a passenger jet.
Yeah.
It's interesting practice, and it's full of journalists. Again, is this best practice? Is this safe?
You know what? I don't care about that because I think this is the best sequence in the movie. I think it should have been the climax. It's awesome. And the CGI of the flying around is awesome and all that stuff is great. And they've done this. I mean, this is the helicopter rescue from the first Superman.
It is. Yeah,
but it's also, there is a shuttle rescue in John Byrne's Man of Steel. And they did the airplane rescue again in the Supergirl TV series.
Yeah, it's right. It's just where the story goes naturally because Superman can fly.
It's great. You can't beat it. It's so spectacular.
Yeah, it's great. It really is a good sequence, although there are some odd things that happen in it. So the media person on the plane is played by Peta Wilson.
Yeah.
She has a very distinctive voice that I recognize without even having to see her face.
Yeah.
She was in the TV series La Femme Nikita.
Yeah.
And of interest to this podcast because she plays Mina Harker in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, yeah.
Ring the bell for that.
Yeah, this was pointed out to me last night, much to my shock. I was like,
damn! I was hoping to. Damn you, Emmett!
Yes, yeah, Emmett pointed that out to me. Yeah,
I
did notice her Australian accent in this. So I was like, "Who's that actress?" And I didn't really think about it any more than that. But yeah,
her character has a really odd name. It's like Bobby Fay or something.
Huh? Okay,
strange.
But we haven't mentioned why the shuttle is crashing, which is that Lex has taken a crystal or a bunch of crystals from the fortress, and he's shaved off a piece, and he's got this big model train set in the bottom of Gertrude's house. And he's got a body of water. It's a model of a metropolis, I guess. And they throw in a shard of this crystal in there, and it causes an EMP wave, which knocks out all the electricity all over the metropolis and all over, I guess, the eastern seaboard, like a huge.
That's what they say. They say specifically the whole east coast is knocked out.
Right.
By this tiny shaving of the crystal. It's really, really, really small, like a speck.
Yeah. But then the power comes back, but it's too late. All sorts of stuff has gone wrong in the shuttle. Superman needs to fly in and save it.
They need to. It's because what's supposed to happen is the passenger jet is supposed to disengage from the shuttle, and the shuttle is supposed to fire its boosters. But the clamps that are holding it to the shuttle fail to disengage, and also they've been unable to prevent the booster rockets from firing. Okay, so far so good, but two specific things went wrong that just happened to mean that now that the booster is going to launch while the jet is still attached. I don't know what these clamps are made of because they don't break. Wouldn't like these are some powerful rocket engines that are supposed to carry this ship outside of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it doesn't tear the 747 apart. Instead, the 747's going into space.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of wonky physics here.
Yeah.
Like when it crashes, when Superman catches it and brings it down into that football field or whatever, like it crumples the nose, but that's it. I'm not sure that's what happened. I did like that when he tried to slow it down by grabbing the wing just ripped off. That made sense. But I was kind of lost in the scene. It was so exciting and well done. And I mean, this is the first time we see Superman in the movie. By the way, he was in a bar with Jimmy before this as Clark, being served by Jack Larson, who played Jimmy in the TV series.
Yeah, that's cool. It is pretty cool.
And his name is above the line.
This is about almost 40 minutes into the movie as well, this scene.
Yeah.
Which is similar to the 78 film where it was 40 minutes till we saw him.
That is right, yeah.
Okay. However, unlike the 78 film, nothing has happened in this 40 minutes.
Right.
Nothing.
Well, Lex stole a crystal.
Superman
got jealous. Clark got jealous that Lois had some baby with somebody else.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like this film, Bryan Singer can direct. I think if you take 5 minutes of this film and watch it, any 5 minutes, It's pretty good.
Like I said, I stop and watch this on TV all the time. I'll stop and watch a few minutes. Over the past 20 years, I've done this lots of times. Yeah.
The trouble is there are too many 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In this movie.
And in fact, if you watch it in 5-minute chunks, you will probably get a close up of the S shield on his chest, the symbol. Because he does the close up all the time. Even when Superman goes to the hospital at the end, it's like close up of the chest. We don't need that.
He really, really, really is taking his time with like we get, you know, like Lois stepping out of her shoes. I think he spends about 2 to 3 minutes, and he isn't even Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
We've got her stepping out of her shoes, stepping onto Superman's feet, and then when they land again, we've got her stepping off his feet and stepping back into her shoes. And I'm thinking, does all of this need to be in this movie about Superman?
No. Okay, back at the Daily Planet, after the shuttle accident, Perry White only wants stories about Superman. Superman sells papers. He doesn't care about the blackout over the entire Eastern Seaboard. This to me is crazy. Yep. A newspaper has more than one page in it. You can put the EMP story on page 4 or 5 or something. He is acting like a publisher or not an editor. He's really mercenary. He sounds like the owner of the Daily Planet.
It's more like J. Jonah Jameson here than Perry White. Because, you know, like, because what's the paper, what's Spider-Man's paper? The Daily Bugle. That's like a muckraking paper, right? But the Daily Planet's a broadsheet. It's supposed to report the news. I think people who aren't living in Metropolis, you know, I think people want to read about why their house lost power for however long. Or why, you know, like why cars stopped in the street, because it's not just, you know, pretty much every electrical device stopped working.
Yeah.
There would have been a lot of accidents.
Yeah. Oh, it would have been disastrous. Yeah. Think about all the other planes that were up in the sky that had their electronics knocked out.
That's right. Superman didn't save them because Lois wasn't on those ones, so they just crashed.
Yeah. Well, Superman 1 has a similar problem with him saving the valley or saving her and letting the flood happen or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, luckily he turns back time, you know, in that one.
Yeah. So I don't really like this version of Perry for this reason. He seems less like a guy that worked his way up as a reporter himself.
Yeah, I think my guess, I'm gonna go with this, is that I think maybe they've decided that they've been inspired by Sam Raimi's J. Jonah Jameson.
I think they've been inspired by Rupert Murdoch.
I think that's giving it a little too much credit.
Okay, by the way, the article Lois wrote was called "Why the World Doesn't Need a Superman" or something like that.
Yeah, what is this? We never even get a hint of what this is in this article. Like, couldn't someone have read it out loud?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, no.
How did she say it? Well, it's not like this film doesn't need any more lengthy takes or digressions. But
yeah,
like, why did she win the Pulitzer for this article? I mean, it's supposed to just be about, if this film's about anything, I guess it's about Lois and Clark's relationship. So
it wants to be about that, yeah.
She needs, it's not. So she needs to have written this award-winning article about how she doesn't need Superman, but then he comes back. What do I do?
Yeah. So after now the eavesdropping happens, and then Superman flies up into orbit, and this is a cool sequence, and he listens to all the crises that are happening on Earth, and then he starts.
Kumar, how do you listen to things in a vacuum?
You can't, but it doesn't matter.
It matters to me, damn it. Speaking of listening to things, we know when he's using his super hearing because there's a kind of like a furry distortion.
Yeah.
You'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that furry distortion sound was from the first film where Lex uses an ultrasonic broadcast that only.
Yeah, they've reappropriated it. I think.
That's not eavesdropping burring. That's because Lex was broadcasting.
Well, that's what I'm saying is he's changed. He's using it for a different purpose in this movie.
Yeah, but it's yes, you're right. He is using it for a different purpose, but it's the wrong purpose.
Right.
Anyway, I'm glad that you were able to turn off your pedant brain for so much of this movie.
Well, because this sequence is another good sequence where he goes around and stops a bunch of crimes. And there's another sequence later in the movie where you think you're going to get some post 9/11 superhero porn where all the buildings are falling down, but actually he saves a ton of people. We don't see the people that die or the buildings that fall over. Just a few years later, Man of Steel was like, we're going to kill all these people and destroy all these buildings. Here, he's like, I'm going to save as many people as possible, and that's what we get on screen, and that's good. I like seeing him fly around, save stuff.
Of course, but it's basically just 78 again, where he spent 20 minutes doing that after he was introduced.
Oh yeah, this is a remake sequence, and later on when he flies through the sky with Lois, that is a remake. He says the same lines, like, you really shouldn't be smoking this line. In fact, when he saves the shuttle, he says, I hope this hasn't put you off of flying. Statistically speaking, it's still a safe way to travel, which is a Christopher Reeve line.
It's the exact same line that he gives her when he saves her from the helicopter in the first movie. I don't understand the point. You can't just say it's an homage and make this make sense. Why aren't you making a different movie?
Yeah. It's some kind of remake or something. Anyway, yeah, so this is like the first night, because he saves the shuttle, or saves the helicopter, and then he goes and solves a bunch of crimes, and here we get all this stuff that's pretty good. It's all fun, no matter the fact that he couldn't have actually heard it. Meanwhile, Kitty Kowalski, our Parker Posey character, is in a car that's out of control and is screaming at the top of her lungs. So Superman flies down to save her. And this is a distraction because
so that Lex can steal another meteor.
Yes.
Which is exactly what he did in 78.
Yes.
That this time we see the heist, I guess. It's from the exact same place. It's from
Addis Ababa. Yeah.
Addis Ababa. What's the point of this?
Well, the point is that Bryan Singer loves Superman 78, and he's trying to put as many little homages and tributes and nods in there as he can.
These don't feel like Easter eggs. These don't feel like Easter eggs, though, because they're big parts of the plot.
Well, the fact that the Rock was in Addis Ababa is a split-second shot.
Sure, that's an Easter egg. You're right. Sorry, the fact that it's from Addis Ababa is an Easter egg. But having a museum heist in order for you to get your kryptonite is a plot point in the film, and it's the exact same as it was in 78.
Did we see the museum heist in?
We don't see it. We just hear about it. But he looks it up. He has to steal the meteor.
It is a little bit similar to the heist to steal the nukes, though, where Kitty would or Eve Tessmacher would lay on the street with her pneumatic breasts, and then the army would come along and be distracted. It's a little bit
so many
like
story beats are the same. I've even written a few of them down. So this one I've called Meteor Heist, but it could also just be Nuke Heist, couldn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Good point.
But I like this Kitty moment because later on in the movie, when Superman sees her again as part of Lex's gang, they give each other a look. And it's played really well. Like,
it's really good.
I recognize you. You're that lady. Oh, you weren't in trouble? You were working for Lex?
He looks just disapproving the way Superman would. And she
disappointed. And she looks mortified.
She looks mortified, and she tries to kind of like brave her way through it. But you can see already that she's starting to have second thoughts.
It's a really great moment.
Two great actors who just acting without even having any lines. It's really good. And Singer can direct too. It looks really good. It's just a shame because also on my list is Luther's girl switching sides helps resolve the plot.
Yes. Yes, that's right. That's right. She is really another Miss Tessmacher. Yeah. Okay, so back at the Daily Planet now, again, we get more of Perry doesn't want her to cover the blackout. She only cares about blackout. She doesn't want to talk about Superman, I guess, because of her emotional blockage or whatever. Really interesting thing about now we get more of Lex's plan. Lex is set up base on the super yacht, and he's got his whole library in there, and they're building some kind of torpedo, and he has this piece of kryptonite. There are meanwhile, back at the Daily Planet, there's some good secret identity gags in this movie, as there are in the new James Gunn movie. Yeah. But there's one moment here where actually doesn't make sense later, but the kid, Jason, looks at Clark, his face in profile where there's Superman in profile on TV, and he starts having an asthma attack because they look exactly the same. He's recognized it. Later on, it seems like he has a superpower to detect where Superman is, so he should have been able to actually not even need to see him, but know that it's him.
Presumably he has supervision, but it seems to be very selective when his superpowers activate, which I'm fine with that. I'm very fine with it being ambiguous.
Yeah, but there's a really great gag here where Richard and Lois are speculating if Clark is Superman, and they look at him and they're just like, "Nah, that goofball, no way." So a lot of great moments.
Say, I don't think Brandon Routh is as convincing and nebbish as Christopher Reeve was.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, I will agree. His Superman's good. His Clark is a little bit.
He's just too good looking.
But then Christopher Reeve pushed it too far. Like in the later movies, especially, maybe not Reeve, but the director.
I'm thinking of 78. Let's not talk about the other ones where he's working out or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, we have their flight in the sky, which is a tribute to the that song number that was going to be a song in 78.
Yeah, the spoken word, the weird sequence. Yes.
Doesn't need to be in this.
No, I don't know. Again, it's not it's not a tribute when the whole movie is doing this.
But at this point, Clark hears about the EMP and he hears about the museum break-in, and he's got this look on his face. Again, very good. You can just see from the look, he's putting pieces together. Like, wait, there was an EMP blast and there was a museum break-in, and he's like, something's not right. He flies up to the fortress. Sure enough, his crystals have been stolen.
You really should put a lock on that door, on the fortress.
Lois figures out the epicenter of the EMP wave, and she goes to the Gertrude house. She doesn't go to the house for some reason. She goes onto the yacht.
She hears music playing, and it's the aria that I think it's the same aria that Lex is listening to in 78 as well.
Oh, but she's surprised when Lex is on the boat. Did she hear the aria from all the way when she parked it from the house?
It's way too far. She doesn't have super hearing. It was way too far away for her to have heard it, but that's the way the movie plays it.
I see. Okay. Well, it's convenient because the boat just happens to be leaving at this moment. By the way, she goes in a great, awesome scene where they walk in. They're like, what is this place? And they see there's clothes and stuff. And they're like, they come around the corner and she's with Jason. Jason says, I like these wigs. And the camera pans
the curly
around,
one, he says.
I like the curly one. And you see all the wigs. And it's such a great, like, horror movie reveal. Yes. And then they come around the corner and Lex is there brushing his teeth.
He's brushing his teeth in a bathrobe. He's just had a shower, I assume. And Spacey just has got the toothbrush he's kind of like fish hooking it in his mouth, and he looks hilarious.
Yes.
He does not pull it out. He just leaves it there.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
And then he takes her prisoner.
By the way, Lois, before she gets on the yacht, gets a call from Daily Planet.
Yes.
But who's that then?
Good question. This is before they knew a cell phone worked in movies. They had trouble.
Yeah, like what? Who's calling her exactly? She ignores it, but
I think it is Richard, isn't it?
No, because she gets another call and it's from Richard.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I just don't understand who Daily Planet would be in her phone.
Huh? Maybe Perry, I guess.
Or she just put it Perry then.
Yeah.
Weird.
People didn't know how to put names into their phones in 2006. You know how to put names in your Nokia? It was like all random letters and shit. And you just try to remember who it was.
Oh, this is a long time ago.
Okay, so Lex takes her prisoner. This is a great sequence where he explains his plan to her. And
yes, it is great. But the trouble is, and here's my next dot point, real estate scam.
Okay, yes. Not only is a real estate scam the same scam from 78, it's bad. I understood the 78 scam, which was to sink California into the sea using nukes, and then he had already owned all that desert property, and people were going to need that desert land.
He was going to make money.
He's going to blow up half the United States and create a new continent, which he will own. He does say people won't care. Lois is like, you think people are just going to let you get away with this? You say, yeah. And it's true. We're living in it. You can just get away with it. Just do whatever you want.
Yes. But we didn't know. He says that he's going to control that landmass with his super technology that he's going to get from the crystals.
Yeah.
So my question here is, why even bother with the land then? Just take over an existing part of the world with your super crystals.
Yes. Here's my question. Would you want to live on that land? It is a rocky crystal mountainscape. It is
it's horrible.
It's awful. No one would want to
nice coastal properties in the Western United States.
Yeah.
It's off. It's in like the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And it looks horrible. It's all horrible stone. It's not a green, not a blade of grass, nothing.
Yeah.
This makes no sense.
Yeah. Does not make sense. I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, but this scene where his arrogance is really good in it. His performance is excellent. He starts to suspect that the kid is Superman's child, and even threatens him with kryptonite.
Kryptonite, yeah.
Which is good. Now he has built a torpedo with he's going to put one of these crystals in a kryptonite casing. I don't know why he needs to do that.
It's because we get a throwaway line a little later where he says crystals take on the properties of the minerals around them.
Yes.
So his plan here is he's making an entire kryptonite island as a trap for Superman. That's his plan.
Okay.
So this island is only the first part of the new continent he's going to make. It's only a very small island at this point, and he has many crystals. He plans to make an enormous continent out there in the Atlantic.
Okay. Here's a question: is kryptonite a mineral? I thought it was irradiated crystals from Krypton.
Yeah. Well, it's irradiated something from Krypton, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it a new element? I thought it was maybe an element.
Some of this is answered in Superman 3, actually.
Well, here it's just a substance that hurts Superman sometimes.
Okay, right.
And the Kryptonian, like the crystal that he stole from the Fortress of Solitude, will merge with it.
Yeah.
And make an island made of kryptonite.
Yeah, I got that.
What it is.
I didn't get why he needed. I guess so Superman wouldn't bother him on his island, which he does anyway.
It's his plan for getting rid of Superman.
Right.
That's why he yells, "Wrong!"
So he needs a whole island made of kryptonite. Later, he stabs him in the back with a shard of kryptonite, and it seems to be enough to.
Once he landed on the kryptonite island, yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of kryptonite.
Yeah, it seems wasteful. I agree. Incidentally, he talks about all the potential, like the incredible technology that these crystals represent. But the only thing they do is react with water and make horrible islands.
Right. Yes.
And make
so that one. That's what that one does. I think the other crystals will do other things, I guess.
Well, maybe, but they all fall in the ocean and start growing as well at the end, and Superman has to throw them into space.
Oh. Okay.
So what are these? Is this really the peak of Kryptonian technology, or are they just like sea monkeys? Like,
well, it seems like because this is he had that one crystal in the first movie that formed the fortress. He threw it into the water in the Arctic and it grew the fortress.
That seems to be what these ones are.
But then he's got all those ones in the control panel, which he can switch around and they have different abilities.
Maybe they do other things too, but how do you tell which one does what? Oh, well,
you have to listen to Jor-El's speech.
He did listen to Jor-El's
Get the instructions from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lois and Jason are trapped by this thug, and Jason starts playing the piano, and the thug, I think he's a juggalo because he takes off his beanie and he's got this clown tattoo on the back.
A clown tattooed on the back of his head. This scene is quite good and menacing.
It is really good. It is interesting and strange and just unusual, unexpected. I think
too long again, but it's still pretty good.
It is too long, but the guy comes over and starts playing piano with Jason, which allows Lois to get a fax off to the Daily Planet.
Yep.
Now we get so Jason is when the bad guy sees that Lois is sending this fax. He threatens Lois, starts beating her up. Jason throws his piano at the guy. So now we know it's revealed that Jason is actually
100% definitely Superman's son.
At this point, if you've seen Superman 2, you don't know how much of it is canon in this movie or not. I was like, did they have sex or not? Did she know Lois? Did the magic kiss happen or not? Because I'm kind of like, okay, that kid is Richard's kid. There's no doubt. Because otherwise she wouldn't have remembered. Kid. Yeah.
So if she slept, it's presumably when they spent the night together in the Fortress of Solitude when he was depowered.
Yeah.
So Kryptonians is it canon in the comics that Kryptonians can impregnate humans?
They have 2 kids in the current storyline. I don't know what the circumstances were. And the most recent Superman and Lois TV show, they had the 2 kids as well.
How does that even work?
Don't know, but that's irrelevant. I mean, how does it work that there's a human being with 5 fingers from outer space that looks exactly like a human being?
Of course. Okay, moving on from that. So she slept with him.
Yeah.
In the Fortress of Solitude when he was depowered. So that means Zod and that had to come so that he could get repowered.
Yeah.
And so does she not know that she had Superman's kid then?
She doesn't. I believe so.
So she really sincerely believes it's Richard's kid.
Yeah. So Superman left. The next day she hooked up with Richard, got pregnant, had the kid.
That's a whirlwind romance, yeah.
I don't know.
If she got the kiss, and lost the memory, then she wouldn't even know that she had. She would think it's Richard's. So there's no. It's not as awful.
Only 5 minutes before the scene when Lex introduced the possibility that it's Superman's kid, should she have considered that possibility? But even then, she shouldn't, because she's like, I never slept with Superman. As far as she's concerned, it never happened. She's like, no, what are you talking about? But then he throws his piano, and she's like, wait a second, Superman roofied me.
Yeah, that's what happened. Oh my God, that's what she would think. Oh my God, I've been forcibly impregnated by an alien.
Yeah, 100%.
Just like Deanna Troi.
Yes. 100%. So Lex has put this thing into the ocean, which is causing all this like tectonic activity, and it's growing this landmass. And now we get the city destruction, but Superman like saves a bunch of people. It's a great sequence.
Yeah, it's a good sequence. There's another pulse, EMP pulse. Every time you activate Kryptonian technology, it seems there's an EMP pulse.
Right. Yes. I think I kind of was okay with that, because in that first movie, that it's almost like that's why he went to the Arctic. Yep. Like, so it would be far away from electricity. I thought that was kind of a tie-in that made sense.
A few panes, a window smashes, and all the glass is about to fall on people in the street. And then Superman uses his heat vision to turn the glass into molten glass, where it then horribly burns everybody instead.
Yeah. That's okay. It looked cool. I was fine with that. Okay, now we got a problem with a lot of back and forth. Because she sent this fax, Richard is able to fly out in his seaplane to her, rescue her.
He gets the coordinates, because she sent the coordinates.
Yeah. She's the coordinates. Superman shows up, he rescues them. They're about to drown in the boat.
Cyclops gets a cool moment where he gets to come to the rescue, which was again interesting. Like, he really needs to be a jerk for me to be okay with what Lois and Superman are doing in this movie. Yeah. But he's not. I don't know how he got from his seaplane onto the yacht, but oh well, whatever. Perhaps he did a really big jump. And
but here's my problem with this whole next 30 minutes is there's a lot of back and forth. People leave the Kryptonite Island in the boat, and then they come back.
Yep.
So he flies over to the Kryptonite Island, where he is weakened and stabbed by Lex and left to die. And then Lois, as they're flying away, is like, we need to go back.
Because she knows that it's a kryptonite, that Lex has kryptonite, so they have to save Superman.
And then like he leaves and comes back again. Like they keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
Instead of just like somehow getting all the characters here and just leaving them there.
It's a bit choppy. Yeah, we have too many perspectives. Yeah. I agree.
And
so they rescue Superman, pull the kryptonite out of his body, except not all of it.
Yeah.
Because apparently some is still left in him.
Yes, that's right.
So hang on, is it crippling or not? Is there a minimum
a shard weakens him, I guess, but even this whole island only weakens him enough that it's hard for him to push it into space. It's not easy.
Yeah, this is problematic. We'll get to that. So, but we've got this whole island made of kryptonite. How much kryptonite is needed to kill Superman? Because this is more kryptonite that's ever existed ever.
Yes.
It's the whole island of it.
Yeah.
Why would he go anywhere?
Maybe it's like weakened kryptonite.
Who knows?
We could have had a line of dialogue to explain that when it took on the properties of kryptonite, it's just like mild kryptonite.
It's
not
not
like
consistent.
it's
It's
not
as you
pure
pointed out,
kryptonite?
what feels like hours ago, that this film doesn't really understand or doesn't really care about consistently showing what kryptonite is or
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
does.
yeah.
Uh,
Because
so,
he's still got a shard in his body, which, as you
yeah,
mentioned, is it's not killing him. But he falls back to Earth in a Jesus Christ pose.
yeah.
Uh,
Well,
and
hang on.
now,
We'll get to that. He goes into the ground. He goes
yeah,
under the ground, and I think it's not really clear what he's doing, but maybe he's causing an earthquake. And it's
oh,
destabilizing the island so that Lex will have to leave it, presumably
okay,
so that he can, I don't know, arrest Lex. I hope Superman has thought through the consequences of creating an earthquake off the coast of the eastern seaboard of the United States. Hopefully, it doesn't
yeah.
cause any.
Well, okay. What if he hadn't? And he just let the landmass grow. That'd be worse, based on the
Well, it's
map
not
we saw.
growing yet. What happens is they leave the island because it's collapsing because of what Superman's doing underneath it.
Okay,
Only Parker Posey and Lex make it
right.
with the crystals. But Parker Posey has had some serious second thoughts. Eve test marked her way into a conscience,
Right.
and she throws the crystals out of the helicopter so that Lex
Right.
won't have them, so that he won't be able to kill billions as he plans.
Right.
Then those crystals fall in the water. And what happens is they start to grow again. It's that the process begins again.
Okay.
Because we literally see it happening. We see the growth occurring.
Okay.
So that's bad news because all the crystals just fell in the water. How much, so what Superman has to do at this point is lift the kryptonite island out of the ocean and throw it into space. Okay, I don't think Superman is super strong, but I don't think he's capable of lifting islands.
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions of tons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also the fucking thing's made of kryptonite.
Yes. Yeah, and he's got a piece of kryptonite still in him.
What's going on? Is it just the power? Is it just clap your hands and believe and then you can throw it?
I think we're supposed to believe it was pure willpower.
Yes. But willpower, can I will away radiation if I pick up some uranium?
No.
One more thing, Kumar.
Yeah.
We know it's a fact that an EMP goes off when Kryptonian tech activates, yet we don't get an EMP when the crystals fall in the water and the island starts.
Are we sure those were island crystals? Were those crystals for making like buildings and
the island starts growing again? It's definitely been activated, and the seaplane and the helicopter do not shut off.
Okay. Okay. Now we get a sequence where Superman might be dying or dead, which I did not believe was going to be the case when I walked into the cinema to watch the Superman Returns movie. So why is it in here?
Yeah, I just checked out here. Who cares? He's obviously not going to die.
No. Also, very interestingly, Lex and Kitty had escaped from the island in a helicopter, and they end up stranded by themselves on this tiny little. It's like a Far Side island.
Little atoll,
yeah. This movie does not end with Superman taking Lex to jail.
No, because he's too busy being in a hospital.
Is kind of unsatisfying. From a Superman movie, you kind of want him. I guess
it's basically the same. He's been neutralized.
Yeah.
Instead of being dropped in a prison yard, I mean, Superman took him directly to jail. He didn't take him to court.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a bit about that. There's another funny line from Kevin Spacey in his rant when he's talking to Lois on the yacht. He actually says, a little thing called habeas corpus or something.
Yes, that's right. Superman wasn't there to testify. He wasn't there to testify against him during the trial, so he eventually got out on appeal. Yeah.
I like that touch. But here but it's the same thing. He's been neutralized. He
can't one of the things that Clark put together. He heard about the EMP, the museum break, and also Lex was out of jail. He's like, that was one of the clinchers. Yeah. So of course he gets well. Lois is writing a new article called "Why the World Needs Superman."
Mm-hmm.
By the way, the world does not. We live in the world. Well, maybe we do need Superman now that I think about it.
Well, I mean, she needs. What this is of course code, because this film, as I said, if it could be said to be about anything, because hasn't really got much of a plot. It's about Lois and Clark's relationship.
Yeah.
And by writing an article called "Why the World Needs Superman," what it really means is why I'm going to kick Cyclops out and raise my affair baby with Superman.
Right. Superman shows up to Sleeping Jason's room and gives him a little speech, which I liked. It was touching. But then I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. By which I mean, don't lampshade the fact that this is a parallel to his own relationship with Jor-El. But of course, he repeats the exact lines and just makes it text instead of subtext in case we were too stupid to figure out what was going on in this scene. And then he flies up into space and he looks at the camera from orbit, as just like Christopher Reeve did. And that's the end of this 2.5-hour movie.
What a farce. Okay, so I've covered most of the trivia I took down already.
Okay.
This film's budget was quite large, $223 million. And even at the time, people were reporting that it would need to make $600 million in order to make its budget back. A feat which, and this article I read said, only 2 superhero adaptations had ever accomplished at that point. Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
So it literally had to make Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 money in order to be a success. It did not. It made $391 million, which is a success, but the budget is so, I mean, it's all on screen. The film looks really good. It was the 9th highest grossing film of that year, but it did not make enough money to be successful. It needed to make more than $600 million, and it did not. Man of Steel, incidentally, had a very similar budget, or a little over $200 million, but it made $670 million.
Whoa, okay.
Maybe because it wasn't a weird, soft reboot. Is it even? No, it's not even a reboot. It's a remake. A weird, soft remake.
Yeah.
78. Just really baffling. There were supposed to be sequels. You know, they were hoping that, I guess, that they'd eventually get to make The Quest for Peace with Brandon Routh. But a combination of things kind of killed it. Development was ongoing, but Singer put a pause on it to work on Valkyrie, the Nazi movie.
Okay. Then
there was the writer's strike in 2007, 2008. And also Warner Brothers were just kind of cagey because it hadn't made enough money.
Yeah.
So in the end, they rebooted it with Man of Steel and Henry Cavill.
Right.
And that's it for trivia.
Oh, okay. I guess it's votes time then.
Yeah.
How do you feel about John Byrne's take on Superman in 1986?
I didn't like it
compared to all your other Superman comics that you didn't like that I've made you read over the
years.
It
just added to the pile, man. I feel like we never do anything but Superman sometimes. We've done Superman like 7 times.
Yeah, we've got like 7 more to go, I think.
Hell yeah. Look, it's not as fun and wacky as the Silver Age stuff. It's just kind of boring 80s stuff. And without the humor and fun art of JLA, which we did a couple of months ago.
Right. No, I do. These were very formative comics for me. I do realize this take is a bit weird. There's not enough. It's interesting because he took out the Superboy. So this version of Superman is Clark Kent first, Superman second.
Yeah.
Unlike the Silver Age version.
You're right. It's like it's taking its cues from the movie, isn't it?
Yeah. That was a key change. And I think
well, that's now the canon character, right? Superboy's gone. Everything since 78 has had him becoming Superman when he goes to Metropolis, right?
Yes, except for Secret Origin, the recent one. That might have been rebooted by now too. I'm not sure.
But I mean, certainly on TV, and film.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, this movie came out the same time Smallville was on the air. Smallville had been going for 5 seasons and had 5 seasons more to go. So it was really like
Brandon Routh. I believe Brandon Routh auditioned for Smallville too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's a whole nexus of people auditioning to be Superman. You look a little bit like Superman, you're auditioning for Superman movies.
Right.
Superman TV shows.
I didn't know about that. But it's weird that this movie was out at the same time we had Superman on TV effectively.
Yeah, so I've got here, so Singer, much like Donna in 78, wanted an unknown to play Superman. Chose Routh out of, quote, thousands of candidates, including Henry Cavill, as stated, and I've also got written down here, Routh previously auditioned for Smallville.
Right. Okay, well, I know people have issues with the John Byrne run, I think because even though he made Clark first, there was not enough differentiation. I mean, his version of Clark was in very good shape.
Yeah, he looks. No one would have ever. It's even they're talking about it constantly. Like Lois is lifting his like Clark's weights and saying these didn't seem heavy enough for you to be that fit.
Yeah, but there was a great issue of John Byrne's run where Lex Luthor gathered all this data on Superman and put it into a computer, and the computer spat out that Superman is Clark Kent. And he was like, that is idiotic. Why would someone as powerful as Superman pretend to be a weak human? And threw it all out. So yes, I am a yay, but I know what's wrong with this. Okay, the movie.
No, I think that's clear. Much too long. Much too much like 78.
Okay, I have a question for you, because you gave a nay to Superman 2 as well. Do you think this is better or worse than Superman 2?
Oh, worse. Way worse. It doesn't have Terrence Stamp telling me to kneel before him.
Yeah.
Way worse. Like Superman 2 is uneven, but it's the Kryptonians are great bad guys.
Yeah.
There are so many iconic, cool sequences in that.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to get you to upgrade your Superman 2 rating.
Well, we don't do that, as you know.
We don't do it, but I'm gonna try to.
I would cheerfully watch Superman 2 again anytime. I think it will be another 20 years at least till I watch Superman Returns again, and probably never.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of good stuff in this. Overall, it doesn't work. However, if it comes on TV again, I will stop and watch for 5 or 6 minutes, as I have done for 20 years, and I will continue to do. It's still visually pretty good. The narrative is the big
Well, I think you can watch any
and the performances are good.
Watch before your eyes start to glaze over. You can watch like a 5-minute chunk and see that Singer's like really good at kind of like working with his actors, and there's some good sequences and some good effects, but then we just have feet shots for 5 minutes. We've got long sequences where people are talking about Pulitzer Prizes and I just and of course the fact that it really is blow by blow a remake of the plot barely moves.
Except for the eavesdropping and stuff. The
plot barely moves. It's really sluggishly moving along.
How do you
feel? Mostly just Superman moping about how his relationship with Lois has gone off the boil since he's been away for 5 years. It's the opposite of heroism.
Okay, well, let's talk about adaptation. Is this version of Superman?
As an
I'm going to say nay, because my Superman is not an eavesdropper who is trying to split Lois up out of a committed relationship. That just seems...
No, that's a good point. He doesn't really act much like Superman. He acts like Christopher Reeve as Superman, doing odd things. He doesn't really do a lot of... he's just not very heroic, is he?
He gets sequences. There are sequences of heroism when he saves the shuttle, when he stops the robbers, when he saves the people from the falling buildings. That stuff is all good.
In 78,
the other stuff, it might have worked.
There's just so much more going on that's interesting in 78. Like the idea of him as being... Do you remember how he's kind of been programmed by Jor-El? And it's sort of when he breaks free of that programming and decides to be human. It's kind of like the big climax of the film. There's nothing like that here. Like he never has it. All he does is throw an island into space at the end. It's just far less interesting.
And we don't know what he's overcome to throw this island. We don't know if he's dying or in pain or why he's struggling. We don't know what the conflict
And it doesn't help that it's impossible what he's doing too, because he's surrounded by kryptonite. He's got kryptonite in his side, and it should be too big for him to throw anyway. I mean, I don't think Superman can lift up an entire island. I think that's beyond even his powers.
Well, Silver Age Superman used to be able to crack a planet in two by ramming it with his head.
That's a good point. But we're not. You're right. Actually, okay. It's not enough to tip it over to a yay.
No, definitely not.
Okay. So Brandon Routh is acting a little bit like Silver Age Superman here by just having a wild Wild, freaky past.
Yeah. Okay, please like, rate, review, subscribe. Please contact us through the email address in the show notes. I got an email from Jay Courtney who's suing us because we called him a bad actor. So it's Jay Courtney and Madonna now. Or you can send us a DM on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, or comment on YouTube, or join our Reddit. And you can please join our Patreon at patreon.com/comicbookmovieoblivion, all one word. Okay, next week we're going to go super old school again because we haven't done it in quite a while because too many people have been dying and stuff and messing with our schedules. We're going to do Tailspin Tommy. And there were 4 Tailspin Tommy movies made in the 30s. There were actually 2 serials and then 4 movies. These 4 movies all came out in 1939. They're all 1 hour long each. We're going to do Mystery Plane, which is the first one, and Danger Flight, which is the last one. And there's a colorized version. Both of them are on YouTube, but there's a colorized version of Danger Flight on YouTube as well.
Right.
And you can probably find some Tailspin Tommy comics online somewhere. That's probably all you need to know. I don't know anything about it myself.
All right. See you then.